Welcome to Medicine Hat, Alberta. We are located in the beautiful South Saskatchewan River Valley, which is surrounded by beautiful prairies and is home to many species of wildlife and native plants.
Our community has a long history of farming and growing fresh produce. However, none of this would be possible without the help of pollinators.
Approximately 45% of the world's agricultural crops depend on insects for fertilization. Statistics Canada estimates that the value of this ecological service is between $4 and $5.5 billion. Pollinators are dependent on by humans, wildlife, and insects. Without fertilization, wild plants are unable to produce seeds to thrive in the next generation, resulting in less plant diversity, and eventually the collapse of the food chain as herbivores are unable to find needed nutrition to survive.
Currently in Alberta, native bees and other pollinator populations are on the decline and are labeled as at-risk species. To combat this problem, we started Project To Be Continued, which strives to preserve our native bee population by creating a safe area for nesting and plant fertilization.
Our project looks at protecting native bees instead of honeybees by creating a safe habitat full of native plants. Honeybees are invasive species that has been one of the causes of the collapse of native bee populations. This is due to the competition for habitats and food. The honeybee population is larger than the native bee population. They can feed and live off of many different resources. Whereas 80% of Alberta's native bees are ground nesters, and they forage specific plants.
Another major threat to native bees is the use of pesticides and insecticides. Research has shown that these chemicals used on crops and home plants are responsible for reducing bee populations and consequently crop yields.
Crops that require pollination include alfalfa, blueberries, apples, apricots, and squash. If these plants cannot get fertilized, they will not produce fruits or seeds for the following year. Pesticides and food scarcity dramatically reduce the wild bee population. Studies have found a 57% drop in reproduction when they are exposed to these threats.
In 2020, our team partnered with Medicine Hat College Environmental Reclamation Program, Police Point Park Nature Center, and the City of Medicine Hat to create a pollinator garden in the Police Point Park. This area is fenced off from the public and the wildlife to protect the plants. As habitat loss is the main threat, we created nesting boxes which allow for a safe environment for the bees to live. To ensure our bees are thriving, we planted native seeds and plants such as flax, Saskatoon berries, white roses, and other native shrubs. These plants will attract the other pollinator species as well, such as sweat bees, hummingbirds, and butterflies. We have high hopes that this garden will be a sustainable ecosystem for our pollinators.
We were fortunate to receive grant fundings from the RBC Foundation and Community Foundations of Canada to purchase our supplies and seeds. This funding also allowed us to partner with Ready Enterprises to develop a marketing campaign for our project.
Ready Enterprises is an agency in our community that provides skill development and employment to individuals with disabilities. In November, our team hired and worked alongside two very creative women to teach them marketing skills that can be used for future employment and for our project. Carol Ann and Jocelyn became very passionate about bees and decided that our project should allow others to learn about the importance of pollinators and the environmental impacts. Our marketing campaign will be launching late April and will be featuring different facts, puns, and activities for the whole community to enjoy.
This is a long-term project which will take 3 to 5 years to establish, since native plants have specific requirements to germinate and bloom. We are excited to see the growth progress this summer.
We are making an ecosystem for pollinators and plant species to thrive.
We are educating our community about the importance of pollination.
We are saving the bees.
We are Enactus MHC.